Here's the Dirt is brought to you by Agro DeKalb.
Well, something unusual has been appearing on people's doorsteps across the country. Seeds sent from outside the U.S. But what exactly is prompting this unexpected delivery? Here with more insights, the Illinois Farm Bureau's Director of Business and Regulatory Affairs, Bill Bodine. Bill, thank you so much for being with us today.
No, it's my pleasure, Heather. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, well, as if having to deal with COVID isn't enough, now we have to deal with some random seeds being sent to people here in the United States. So when did we first notice these seeds arriving on people's doorsteps?
It started around the 24th of July. We started to receive reports of people receiving unsolicited seeds from China specifically. And obviously that creates some concern when you think about the possibility of invasive species possibly being introduced to the country, or pests or diseases that were unwanted. So up until the 24th was when we first saw the reports, and then through the end of July, the Department of Agriculture in the state of Illinois is now stating that they're getting close to 1,000 reports of people receiving these seeds unsolicited.
And this isn't just in Illinois that we're talking about, right?
No, this is happening all over the country. There are reports from a number of states around the country where people receive the unsolicited seeds. So it's not just unique to Illinois. This is happening in a number of locations.
And looking there at the notes that we just saw pop up on the screen, you've identified 14 types of plants from these seeds. Is that right?
Well, the Department of Agriculture is working with USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. And USDA has reported to date, they have found 14 different types of plants in these seeds that they have tested. Now, I've been told that those seeds are from other states, not specifically in Illinois. So as people are receiving these seeds, we're asking for those individuals to report that to the Department of Agriculture. They will provide instructions on what to do next, and those seeds may then be sampled by USDA to determine what could be actually in the packets of seeds.
So how did this happen? Like, how do people overseas just randomly send people here in the United States seed packets?
Well, that's what's being investigated. So, they're looking into what possibly could have occurred here. There is some discussion about the possibility of what is called a brushing scam. And that is where e-commerce companies may send small packages. They create fictitious orders, send those packages out, and then use those packages to create or bolster their online presence. So they, once the package is sent, they may give it a 5-star review. And so it makes them look better for e-commerce transactions and for people interested in possibly buying from them in the future. So again, it's not known yet what is really driving some of this, but there is a thought that a brushing scam could be involved.
So let's say somebody here in central Illinois receives a package of seeds randomly in the mail. What do they need to do?
Well, the first thing and most important thing is do not plant them. We do want these seeds planted because, as I said, we don't want to introduce a possible invasive species or a unknown plant disease into our environment. What we would ask people to do is preferably not even open the seed packets and report them immediately to the Illinois Department of Agriculture. The best way to do that is to send an email, and the email address is agr.seeds@illinois.gov. When you do that, you'll want to provide your name, your phone number, and the number of packages that you received. The Illinois Department of Agriculture will then be in touch with additional instructions on what they would like you to do with those seeds. And that may include, as I said, they're working closely with USDA. That may include sending those seeds off to the USDA for additional testing to try to determine what could possibly be in those seed packets.
Well, crazy times around here. And just one more thing to add to the list of craziness. I'm sure, planting invasive kind of plants can cost millions of dollars to control. So something definitely to take seriously if you happen to get a random package of seeds in the mail. Bill, we appreciate your time today and that information.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, we will have all the information on what you need to know and what you should do if you happen to receive a random packet of seeds in the mail at ciliving.tv, and we'll connect you to the Illinois Farm Bureau's website, which we just saw right there, as well at ciliving.tv.